Welcome back to Midday. Our first guest joining us, John Van Limbeek from Abbott Wealth Management. Thanks for being here, John.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We're talking, so it is March now. It's a new month with Abbott, and every month, as we've been telling people, we have a theme and get sort of different topics that fall under that theme. And this month's theme is protecting you and your estate.
Correct.
So the first thing, I guess, that there's the title page there, protecting you and your estate. Wills fall under this, right? Preparing a will.
Yeah,
exactly. Okay, and that's what we'll focus on today. Before we get to that, though, actually, yeah, we'll hold off on those slides just yet. I just want to ask you, wills is one of the things we're going to talk about, but what really falls under protecting you and your estate?
Well, I mean, the will is the legal part of it, but you can have, that's part of your estate plan, but, you can have, from a legal point of view, you can have a representation agreement, talking about maybe either disinherited children or stepchildren or disabled children, a lot of different things that go under whatever your wishes are.
Right.
We'll factor in maybe more on the legal side, but also in regards to, well, I'll say life insurance necessarily for protecting your loved ones if you're no longer around, or and that estate value, right?
Yeah, there's so many things to think about.
There are a lot, yeah.
So let's start by showing that first picture up there, that first slide. So these are your wishes. Your will are all about your wishes, right?
Exactly. And here's I talked about this a year and a half ago. Numbers really haven't changed that much, and it's just more of a statistical number, which is quite alarming, that how much money will transfer from one generation to the next over the next 10 years. And then the second part of that is how many people do not have a will.
Yes, that's amazing. Half of Canadians, nearly half.
It's quite, that's close, over 12 million Canadians.
Why do you think that is, John?
Well, some people are saying it's because our taxes and the probate is low, and then other people just say, talk about, it's hard to discuss what your wishes are when you're no longer around, because it's a mortality. If I do that, then I'm gonna die, and it's not necessarily people are linking two together, right?
Yeah. So they're almost
maybe a little
like
bit
afraid to be that prepared.
Exactly, right? If I'm not that prepared, then it won't happen to me.
Right.
To some degree. So it's hard to say, but nonetheless, the stats are the stats, and the reality is that people put a great plan together to get you to retirement or wherever that is. And they won't have that will set in place, and it's a big what if something happens to you.
Yeah, it's almost the most important thing to have in place. Yeah,
it is. Or one of them for sure. Like you said, just being able to speak. What are your wishes when you can't speak anymore? For sure, right? Yeah. So that's the stats, which are scary, and then we just kind of build into what really is a will, which most people do know. But it really
for those who don't, here it is.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, at the simplest, it can get complicated depending on how your estate is, but really it's, you want, what are your wishes for distribution of property? Who will look after your children? Really, at the highest level, that's what it sets out there. You pick an executor or executrix, to set that will in place. But really, those are the two things that you're trying to do with a will, to speak on your behalf. What do and the legal way, if you don't do that. Then
I was just going to say, what happens if you don't do that?
Well, then the government, really, if you don't have your legal will, the government has a will for you.
Okay.
Right? So everything goes by government rules, and that's not necessarily what you want.
No.
Right? In regards to maybe ex-spouses, either stepchildren or not stepchildren, and either biological children that may or may not be still a part of your life, right? And it's interesting, for sure.
It could potentially, depending on the situation, of course, everyone's situation is different, like you say, stepchildren or whatnot, but if you don't have that plan in place and your wishes put forward, then if you have the government or someone else stepping in to make decisions for you, things can get a little bit messy sometimes,
They can get messy,
right?
They can get costly, and they will, and delays in time, for sure, and it's not fun.
No.
Unfortunately, the person is no longer around, so the people that you cared most about are the ones left putting all that together, and with a lot of frustration, right?
We have about a minute and a half left, John, so let's get to this last slide here.
And then this is just really once the will's set in place, and please, I'm not a lawyer, but please go talk to your lawyer. Don't do a Shoppers Drug Mart will kit. That's not going to necessarily be the best for you.
Okay.
But review it every 3 to 5 years, or at key life stages, either separations, divorce, new children, stuff like that.
Okay.
New businesses. Share your wishes with your family, communicate openly with that, and then tell your executrix where the will is. Because it's great all having one, but if nobody
if it's
can
hiding
find it,
somewhere in the house and they can't find it, that's not good.
and they don't know where it is,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
And and those are, it seems, it seems a little bit, comical, but really it's things that people go through, and you need to know where they are for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Good reminder. Thank you so much,
You're welcome.
John. That's it for our time with Abbott, but there's the information if you'd like to get a hold of John or any of the team at the office. We're back in a moment. Stay with us.